Hey, what's up everybody? Got something really cool to show you guys. Made a nice score for my friend Jim. The guy that I got the arcade cabinet from happened to also collect retro video game systems, and this was just the abundance of stuff that he had as just oddball systems and controllers and whatnot that was in his garage, and he posted it on Craigslist. And originally I was just going to buy some from him, and then my friend Jim does this a lot. He bought the entire lot of stuff, like one box like this, loaded full of just miscellaneous controllers and hookups and stuff, bunch of systems and whatnot. So, gave me a good deal on what I wanted out of it, and then he kept the rest for himself. So, gonna start grabbing stuff here and there that's closest to me. I had some Coleco stuff, and this isn't the only Coleco item that I got. And all this, all together, was 40 bucks. Got another Super Action controller, and this one's in nice condition. Just a little scuffed up on here, otherwise the joystick and everything's great. And then this, he didn't have the power supply, which on this, the power supply is the same as this Model 2 Sega Genesis or Model 3, and he didn't have the cord to link it to the system. So, probably going to mod this puppy up to work on one of my customs and just have it straight out RCA jacks or whatever. Anyways, got a 32X, and outside's a little scuffed up, but I opened it and the inside's all nice and clean, so nothing's gotten wet inside. So hopefully it should work. Then this, this is, let's see, yeah, I've got two of these, and then the 800, and then I got the big Atari, so let's call this number 3 for my Atari computer. You had another Atari 600 XL that appears to be in pretty good condition. Nothing's beat up on it, just no power supply. These ones I'm going to save towards the end here. You had one Atari related item that I assume is pretty freaking scarce or possibly very rare. I have no clue on it because it's the first one I've seen, so I'll save it towards the end. This is something he threw into the mix because he just doesn't really know anything about them. And I assume this works. I haven't tested it, but it's in really good cosmetic shape, not beat up. Got another Model 1 in television. Get this cord unraveled here so I can show it off better. This is something to where I was surprised as hell that it still works beautifully. And let's see, I don't know if this had the year on it. I think this came out in 76 or 77, I can't remember. And this takes D batteries, 4 of them, or takes what I believe is a 6-volt power supply, which I gotta locate. Otherwise, it worked on batteries, perfect, nothing wrong with it. Got an Atari Super Pong in really good condition. Cleaned up real nice. There's the selection switch for the multiple Pong games it's got on it. And on this one, I had one of these when I was a kid, but it was not color, it was black and white. This, they did it kind of hallucinogenic to where it's all rainbow colored, and when you're not playing a game, it's got like a whole bunch of squares, just rows of them going past the screen with the Pong overlay in the background or whatever, so it looks all hallucinogenic. Really cool. And I have spotted these Pong games around here before, man, but never in this good a shape. They are usually beat up, so I just avoid them. But this was another thing he didn't know what to do with, so I threw it in the mix. And then this system I have tested. And, made the deal yesterday and went back today to get some of the controllers because he didn't have everything out yet. He was still going through stuff. So I do have the controllers with this that I'll show in a little bit. And this is a really cool system. Got a Sears Video Arcade 2, basically just Atari 2600. In good shape. Cords in good shape too. Did not get the original power supply with it, but I was able to get this thing to run using my Magnavox Odyssey 2 power supply. But I got a variable one somewhere. I'm thinking this is either 9 volt or higher. I think the Odyssey one was 10 volt or something. Otherwise, works great. And the controllers appear to be in good shape, which I'll show in a minute here. Actually, I'm going to hold off on that and show you these oddballs. One of these was one that I got from him a while back, so already in my collection. I'm just using it to compare. I'm going to show it first. And I didn't spot this until I got it home and then started comparing. It's like, oh, something's amiss. Something's fucky. It's definitely different, but they tried to copy it. Anyways, this is a, I guess, wide rainbow variation of the Atari 2600 Junior. As you can see, it's got the big Atari logo dead center, and then off to the side there in the rainbow says 2600. And another thing to point out, that little rectangle right there in the rainbow is the power light. Then for anybody who's never had one of these, on off, color black and white, and then select and reset buttons, which on this I believe they are built into the lid and then have separate wires going down. And then on the back of it, power supply plugs in dead center, RF, channel select switch, then 2 joystick hookups, and your difficulty selection. Oh, and then the bottom, usual label there, it says Atari and gives a little bit of identification on it, serial number, whatnot. And then just below that, in fact below that clear rectangle there, it says made in Taiwan, and then another Atari logo. This is what came in the lot, and I have opened it, and some of you might call this a clone. I'm going to say more like bootleg, because there is nothing on this to identify who made it, other than it's made in Taiwan. There is no company markings whatsoever. Just says 2600 dead center there. That's the only thing to say, okay, this may possibly play Atari 2600 cartridges. And then for all the buttons and switches, it says the same thing as the other, power on off right here. Color black and white. Fake switch. They put the switch in there to make it look like this is a real Atari, but when you open it up, there is nothing under that. There's not even a spot to put a switch, so totally fake. And then on these two buttons, instead of them being built into the lid, including the sensors, they're just spring-loaded, and literally on the bottom of them, there's a post with a Phillips head screw in each one of those posts, touching a metal bar bent like this to where it pushes down the ends to touch a little contact, which is basically just a soldered in piece of thick wire. That's the contact for your select and reset, man. Just really cheapo. Then the back of it, as you can see, there is nothing dead center. There's your difficulty selection switches, joystick ports. Power supply is in the spot where normally you'd have your channel select switch. This has no channel select switch anywhere on it. I open it up, there's nothing on the board. And then RF. On the sticker, all it says is TV game console, video computer game, and then a serial number. Does say made in Taiwan, but no logos. And I'm guessing on this, I'm probably right because they look generic as hell. I'm pretty sure on what he gave me today, I've got the original joysticks that came with this. They look just like 2600 all black joysticks or whatever. They just, instead of the Atari logo, it just says video game or whatever on them. Really generic. And, I did spot a couple like this on Atari Age where they were showing clone systems to where they're supposed to have built-in games. But when I've seen videos or any other information on them, they usually say there's a switch somewhere to select the games, like an extra switch. This doesn't have anything like that. So that's why I'm thinking just outright bootleg Atari. As a can't get it to work right yet. I'm thinking it works off channel 3, but I'm thinking the situation is they changed the voltage to where it's either lower or higher. Because when I'd hooked this up with an Atari cartridge in it, all I'd get is a garbled picture and then just static, no sound whatsoever. So I'll keep messing with it. If I get it working, cool. I'll let you guys know and tell you what I used to do that. Otherwise, even if it's just something to display, pretty damn cool, man. I have never had anything like this, and there's no date on it either. Nothing on the circuit board whatsoever on a date. Just nothing to identify it, other than it's a fake Atari. So I'm figuring this was made around the same time this was, late 80s, and just bootleg out of Taiwan. So that's all the consoles. Show you the goodie bag here. Did get a few games. Some for ColecoVision, Carnival, Smurf. And this one I looked up, and I haven't looked it up too far, but from what I found, it's rare, just not worth a whole lot. And I can't remember who makes this. There's no marking on it to tell you who anywhere. Just the label. It's Puzzled World for Atari 2600. And let's see. Donkey Kong Jr. ColecoVision. Okay, they don't say video game. They say joystick. But they look just like a 2600 joystick. I haven't opened them up. These feel like they haven't been messed with. Either that or they're built different. They are really stiff. Just doesn't quite feel right, so I'll have to open one up. Anyways, there it is. As you can see on top, it says joystick, and got both of them. So table here. These, I opened up both of them just to clean them up. They seem to be alright. And these are pretty unique. These are for the Sears Video Arcade 2. Fire button on both sides, and then for anybody that doesn't know, the joystick also serves as a paddle. What they did is it's just all one piece, and then for the joystick part, the sensors or whatever are on a separate circuit board, so when you rock this in there, as in the whole piece, it touches those, and then that internal has all the hardware for the dial here, so you rotate the joystick when you want to use it as a paddle, and on the system it's got separate switches that you press for joystick or paddle. And even that it's made by Sears, it's all Atari on this too, as Sears didn't just do it illegally. They had permission, so there's Atari logos. And this I thought was cool, even that he didn't have the system, but at least I got parts for it when I do find one, hopefully. And I got some of the cartridges, and these cartridges are weird as hell looking. Find room here. You had a pair of controllers for the Mattel Aquarius home computer. Basically look very similar to an Intellivision 2 controller, just a hell of a lot thinner. So pretty cool, and they appear to be in great shape. So if I find a system, I'll have some good controllers. And then on cartridges, you had 3 of them. Tron Deadly Discs. See, weird ass looking cartridges, just bizarre looking. And they appear to be in good shape too. And then I figured this is a program for typing or whatever, file form. And then a 16K memory cart. And after looking all this up, they also have a 4K memory cart. So pretty cool, man. That's the first stuff for the Mattel Aquarius I've ever seen to where I could touch it physically, let alone buy, man. I'm yet to find a system. Oh, and also, and I haven't tested this yet, for the fact that this is made in Taiwan and it's really weird how they did it, I'm thinking this may be the adapter for that bootleg Atari, because the plug is right. It's headphone jack style, but really generic, just like the system. But it's got a switch on it to go from 110 volt to 220, and then the output is 9 volt DC, and then just made in Taiwan. So hopefully this is the adapter for that. Maybe I can get it working. But like I said, I haven't tried yet, so I have no clue if that's in good shape or not. And that's the lot, man. Nice haul for 40 bucks. Anytime it's stuff that he doesn't know what to do with it or whatever, or just doesn't have all the parts to make it work, he always gives me an awesome deal. So with him, man, he's pretty much into just Nintendo type stuff. That's what he's familiar with working on, so that's what he kept. This guy had like 3 Platinum GameCubes, just the systems, but in good shape. I think a couple Super Nintendos, 2 or 3 regular Nintendos that were more for parts, Sega Genesis, and I don't know what else. I think he had some handheld games maybe, but just a ton of controllers and stuff, man. I have no clue what he paid for this lot, man, but he got a lot of stuff. So, catch you guys later, and if any of you happen to have one of these bootleg Ataris in your collection, give me some information on it, man. I'd greatly appreciate it. As far as I know, it works on channel 3, because that's the only one where I minutely got a signal where it was all garbled. Every other channel was just blank screen. And I was trying it on a flat screen TV, so it's either going to accept a signal or nothing at all. So, could be just weird on the setup or something. I don't know. So, catch y'all later.